Hello, and welcome once again to another episode of the Cade and Eric Show podcast. So this week we've got lots to cover this week. First of all, I'd like to say Merry Christmas. It is the first episode of December. So I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and thank you to everybody who follows. Thank you to everybody who likes, subscribes, all that fun stuff there. Thank you to everybody who listens and any new listeners. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the fun. So today, if you like this, you can also follow me on my Facebook page, X, TikTok, YouTube, and Truth Social, the Cade and Eric Show on all of them. So today, let's get into some money talk a little bit. There's an update on... I got some clips from the DeSantis Newscum. Yes, you heard that right. Not Newscum debate that happened last week. The last GOP debate was last night. And then we'll get into some Biden crime family money trail. So, yeah. So first, let's get into the sports updates like always. The NFL Week 14. The 49ers went into Philadelphia and crushed the Eagles. I don't know, it was like 42-19 or something like that. So stick that in your pipe, Philly. Get some revenge from the NFC Championship last year. And then the Packers hosted the Chiefs and beat them. And apparently Taylor Swift was there and they lost. So that was sad. She's Times Person of the Year, actually, I think I saw. She is on their cover. So that's exciting. That's great for all the Swifties. Congratulations. Your queen there is on the cover of Time magazine. So congratulations to Taylor Swift. And, of course, there's the big other update with... There's no other really big update with baseball. Ohtani still hasn't decided. The Yankees, I saw, just got Juan Soto from the Padres, who was also on the Nationals a few years ago. So I want to get into some college football here for just a second. If you're a fan of the show, and if you've listened to the show in the past, I'm a big BYU fan. I have 3 colleges, actually, that I follow, which is kind of funny. BYU, I have been a BYU fan. My dad was a BYU fan. I have an uncle that actually teaches as a professor at BYU. I've had family, friends, tons of people that go to BYU, and I have been a fan since I was a little kid. They did not fare so well. They went 5-7 this year in college football. College basketball, though, men's college basketball, they are actually doing really well, so that's pretty exciting. And so the other 2 teams, I do like the University of Texas. I became a Texas fan when my family moved down here to Texas. And so I've been kind of a fan of them since like 2005, since they won the national championship in 2005 with Vince Young and Mac Brown and all that stuff. And the most recent team that I have cheered for is Florida State University. And if you've listened to this before, I apologize, but to those that have not, the reason I am a Florida State fan, you're like, well, that's kind of weird. You're Texas, BYU's in Utah, and Florida State's all the way on the other side of the country. But Florida State, because my in-laws went there. My mother-in-law, she was a huge Knowles fan before she passed away. I did not get the chance to meet her, so it is kind of my way of expressing my kind of connecting with her and having kind of a relationship that way. So I have a flag, got a flag for her that I put out. It's actually out right now because I'm just really pissed off with what has happened here in college football over the week and last Sunday, because FSU got totally screwed over and did not make it into the college football playoff, the semifinals of 4 teams. So you have Michigan is number 1, Washington is number 2. Both of those schools went undefeated this year and won their respective conference championships. It is actually the end of the Pac-12, which is kind of interesting. This is like their last year was like, we're going to be the best conference. And they finally decided to show up and be good. So, yeah, that's that. And then you've got, so the other two spots, you would think would go to another undefeated conference champion in Florida State, where they scheduled two SEC opponents, LSU that they crushed at the beginning, towards the beginning of the year, who was ranked number 5 at the time. They absolutely crushed them. And then they beat Florida in Gainesville a couple weeks ago. And so they had their conference championship last Saturday, and they beat Louisville with their third-string quarterback. So they're undefeated, they're conference champions, but they did not get an invite into the college football playoff. Because the excuse that this committee gave is because Jordan Travis, their star quarterback, was injured in the second-to-last game of the regular season. He broke his leg, unfortunately, against Northern Alabama, which the backup came in and just ripped them apart. So then he went in, and he was the quarterback for the Florida game, where they beat Florida there in Gainesville. And then he got a concussion during that game. He finished the game, though, but he got a concussion. So they were down to their third-string quarterback for the ACC championship game, right? And, obviously being the third string, they didn't have the offensive, I don't know what you want to call it, but the offensive flair or pizzazz. Their defense showed up and held the 14th ranked team in the nation to 6 points. Their offense only scored 16, but they still won, right, with their third string quarterback. But Sunday, the committee decided to use the excuse of Jordan Travis not being there and unavailable as the reason for them not making it, because I guess they were afraid or they were too scared to do the right thing and give the other undefeated conference champion the third spot. So they gave it to Texas. I was all excited when Texas was announced that they were the third and were going to the college football playoff. And I thought, okay, they have to put FSU as number 4. They have to put them in there because they did everything that was asked. They went through the whole year, 13-0, conference champions, undefeated. But no, they gave it to Alabama because heaven forbid you don't put an SEC team in there. Heaven forbid Alabama and Georgia do not make it into the college football playoff. So this whole system of 4 teams, a 4-team playoff, has just been an absolute nightmare since the beginning. In 2014, there was an Ohio State team with their third-string quarterback that won the national championship. So they were given the opportunity, but apparently FSU wasn't because it wasn't an SEC team. And honestly, it just all comes down to money. Money, money, money. Who gets the views? Because an Alabama-Michigan game is a much more viewer-friendly or money-making game than a Florida State-Michigan. But then you can also make the argument of why is Michigan in there when they've had this huge sign-stealing scandal for the entire year and Jim Harbaugh has not been on the sideline for much of Michigan's season, right? So it's just very frustrating. I was very mad. I was very angry. I just couldn't believe, and the joy of seeing Texas finally into the college football playoff was really kind of taken away with the fact that they screwed over Florida State. And so I hate it. It's all about politics. It's all about money. There's a video going around of Deion Sanders basically saying the same thing. I have tons of clips that I could play, but due to time and due to other things that I want to get to, I'm not going to play that because it'll just be too long. So anyway, so that's the update for the college football disaster. So they will play Georgia. FSU will play Georgia in the Orange Bowl in Orlando. And I kind of have 2 thoughts of that. 2 thoughts. I mean, they could say, screw you, we're not going to play it, and just boycott the whole bowl. There's also rumors that DeSantis, their governor of Florida, wants FSU to take some kind of legal action against the College Football Playoff Committee. So I don't think that'll ever come. And, I think they will play. I think FSU will play the game. Hopefully they have motivation. Hopefully they have the motivation and the frustration, and they beat Georgia and give a big screw you to the College Football Playoff Committee, because next year we're going to a 12-team playoff, what it should have been anyway. I mean, you've got March Madness that has like 1 million teams in it, and then they play all the way down to one. And you've got baseball that plays with a bunch of teams. You've got softball that plays with a bunch of teams. But apparently college football, they can't do that. They just refuse to do that. And it's very, very frustrating because they leave somebody out. And, I mean, there could be an argument for Georgia to be into the college football playoff because they've been number one, but they did not win their conference championship. So, in my opinion, that kind of knocks them out. And then, honestly, I didn't think Alabama should be in because of their loss to Texas and the fact that they struggled against South Florida. And honestly, they should have lost to Auburn, a crappy Auburn team who got their butts kicked at home by New Mexico State. So, yeah, the Alabama-Auburn game was a 4th and 31 Hail Mary prayer in the back of the end zone that he caught. If Alabama's so good, why are they in? So, yeah, a little frustrated about that. A little irritated, but what are you going to do? I guess they just said, screw it. We don't care. We're just going to put Alabama in because it's Alabama. And that's just the bottom line. Because Stone Cold said so. So anyway, we'll get in it. We'll have that. So the bowls will happen. Unfortunately, BYU did not make a bowl. They had 5 chances to win a 6th game and be bowl eligible, but they did not. And that kind of sucks. Really bad. But it's their first year in the Big 12, so I think they've done the best of the new teams that came in. So hopefully next year they'll be able to get their act together and represent the Big 12 in some bowl game next year. So speaking of money and other things, well, first let's get to this Newscum and DeSantis debate and then the GOP debate. So when I saw that, I think I said this last week, but when I saw that Newscum and DeSantis were going to be debating, I was thinking, like, what the crap? How is Gavin Newsom going to defend the fact that California is a crap hole? They literally have an app on their showing where all the crap is in San Francisco. And brilliantly, actually, DeSantis in the debate pulled out a piece of paper and held it up, and it was just black because there's just poop all over that great city, or once great city anyway. So DeSantis was a clear winner because he couldn't even defend, or Gavin couldn't defend the fact that California, for the first time ever in its history, has lost population. They have lost population, meaning more people moved out of California than moved into it. And not surprising, because with their high taxes and the fact that they allow for thievery, robbery, and then, they don't do anything about it. I mean, there's nothing to be done with it. Companies are closing their stores or completely moving out of California, along with other people. They're just saying, heck with it. They're coming here to Texas and other places where we are not hostile to capitalism and things that are great and that make the country great. Yeah, we're not hostile to those things. Where Florida gained a whole bunch of people and California lost millions. So, but here, let me play this clip here from the fun little debate, the Newscum beatdown. Let's see. Let's play this one. Oh, the one thing, as I'm looking at the things I want to share. since today that I forgot, and I was like, I gotta remember this, and then I forgot. I wanted to mention this in the beginning, but did not, so sorry about that. But today, actually, is Pearl Harbor Day, the day that lives in infamy. And I wanted to play this clip first, and then I'll get to the Newscum DeSantis thing here in a minute. But I wanted to play this clip of FDR and kind of what he said about Pearl Harbor.
Oops. December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. The attack yesterday on the Hawaiian Islands has caused severe damage to American naval and military forces. I regret to tell you that very many American lives have been lost. In addition, American ships have been reported torpedoed on the high seas between San Francisco and Honolulu. No matter how long it may take us to overcome this premeditated invasion, the American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory. With confidence in our armed forces, with the unbounding determination of our people, we will gain the inevitable triumph, so help us God.
So he made that speech. Obviously, would be tomorrow. The anniversary would be tomorrow, since he said yesterday. In the halls of Congress. And today, I would like to honor those that lost their lives 82 years ago today, in just a horrific attack. I have a patient. My other job, besides providing this beautiful podcast and other material to you, is I do home health care. And so I have a patient who he's in his 90s, right? And so we were talking yesterday, and he remembers where he was the day the Japanese attacked. He was, I believe he said it was in a movie theater, and somebody came in and said, the Japanese have just bombed Pearl Harbor. So he told me yesterday, he's like, oh my gosh. And then he was like, well, where the hell is Pearl Harbor? So apparently not everybody knew where Pearl Harbor was, but that's okay. But just amazing. And I sat there and I looked at him for a minute, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this guy he remembers that. It's the equivalent of those of us who are old enough to remember 9/11 will be able to tell our grandkids or great-grandkids what happened that day, and they'll probably look at us the same way and think, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that they lived and remembered that stuff. So just like to put out that kind of memorial time here for Pearl Harbor. So let's get into this fun little debate here with Newscum and DeSantis. So here, Sean Hannity was the moderator. And let's just kind of take a little peek at what happened.
This is your question. Let me ask you. Obviously, you support a different philosophy, which
Absolutely.
is higher taxes.
Yes.
No,
Hold on.
this is a tax question, Governor.
This is a very different approach, and I agree with you completely. He is one of the most regressive tax rates in the United States of America. It's the number 3 most regressive state in America. And what that means is simply this. Who does he tax? He taxes low-income workers more than we tax millionaires and billionaires in the state of California. The question is a simple one. Who, Ron, are you for?
So on the clip here, it's California versus Florida state income tax. Obviously, there is no state income tax in Florida. And California tax rate on median income of $84,000 is 6%. California tax rate on income over 1.355 million is 13%, both zero in Florida. So you just wonder, like, oh, okay, well, that's why they're leaving California.
It's a factual lie that the state of California is high tax, has the highest tax rate, but for whom? And it's a foundational and fundamental difference. You look at states like Texas, overwhelming majority of Texans pay more taxes than the state of California. So again, it's who you're for. And I think those values matter, and I appreciate you bringing up the issue of taxes.
So the other thing that they have on here is the average property tax rate in Florida is 0.91%. California is 0.75%. Sales tax is 6% in Florida. And in California, 7.25. Gas tax per gallon, 35 cents. In Florida, 77 cents. Gosh, it's like $1 for taxes in California. Corporate income tax is 5.5, and then California is 8.84.
How many people leave Florida to go to California because they pay less taxes? I've not seen that. Are people going from Florida to New York because they pay less taxes? Of course not. They come to Florida because they pay lower taxes. We don't even have an income tax, and yet California has a higher sales tax than we do, and that's one of the things that we do. But here's the thing, and I'll give Gavin credit. He did at least admit in his first answer. He's joined at the hip with Biden and Harris. He thinks Biden and Harris have done a great job.
Yeah.
He thinks the economy is working because of their policies for Americans, and they are not. And so what California represents is the Biden-Harris agenda on steroids. They would love nothing more than to get 4 more years to be able to take the California model nationally. That would be disastrous for working people in this country.
We'll talk about working people. They pay more in your state than the state of California charges for billionaires and millionaires, and it's just a value proposition.
True.
It's a fact. Again, you can't make.
You have $6 or $7 a gallon gas. How do they afford that? These are folks that are blue collar people. You're going to force everybody to buy an electric vehicle. How are they going to be able to afford electric vehicles if you're working class people? And I think the thing about California, they have one of the highest inequality rates because, yeah, they've got Silicon Valley billionaires. They've got a lot of very wealthy people. They've got a lot of people that are on government assistance, but they've hollowed out their middle class. That's who's been leaving California. They've been leaving in other places. They go to Arizona. They go to Nevada. They go to all these places. Just like Biden is hollowing out this issue in California.
Ron, I'm happy that you continue to talk. Let's talk a little bit about Bidenomics because I'm happy to take that on right now as well. And I think it's a fair point.
It sucks, dude.
14 million jobs, 10 times more than the last 3 presidents combined.
Because he had
850.
Oh my gosh, they keep calling this the. Oh my gosh, dude. So let's just kind of let's get a little perspective on how it happened. So 2020, right? We had the COVID crap had come out, and a lot of people were forced out of their jobs. A lot of people were forced to stop working because businesses closed for that period of time. And so those jobs were just sitting there, right? They weren't being filled. They weren't being done. Some people lost their jobs. And some people had to get the stupid jab otherwise you would lose your job. So all those jobs that Biden keeps talking about and this demented administration, those aren't jobs that they were gained. They were just, people just got their other jobs back, the ones that they had. It wasn't a gain of jobs. It was just those same people got jobs back that had them before. It's just...
Are you kidding me?
3.9% unemployment. As he continues to talk over me, I'll talk to the American people. 3.9%.
Please don't, just shut up.
The lowest black unemployment in American history. The lowest unemployment for Hispanics in American history. The lowest unemployment for women in 70 years. The lowest black poverty rates in history. That's this administration's agenda. And by the way, as you smile and smirk over there, you should know this, the American people. Here's a guy who celebrated Bidenomics just this week, celebrating $28 million that came into your state because of the CHIPS and Science Act, one of the most significant economic plans since FDR. I'm proud of the work Biden and Harris have done.
Would you like to respond? And I do have a follow-up. The 6% rate on families, a couple in California, they pay 6% income tax on $84,000 a year.
Low-wage workers
That's why
in the state of Florida
that's what he
pay
does.
more than many
I didn't ask about
We're-
Florida.
we-
Spinning
Governor,
is
Governor.
30.
Yeah,
But here's let me ask the
spinning
question.
lies
Let me ask
to
the
be
question.
able to
Let me
try to cover for his
Ron,
father.
if I may
Let him
ask
answer, and then I'll
may
let
answer
you
the
respond.
question.
Okay.
California has lower taxes, lower than
Lower
32
taxes.
states for working families in the middle class. Significantly lower taxes
So you
than
support
places
that. That's what
like
you said.
Texas.
You support a 6% income tax for
I'm
people a
against,
couple
I'm
making
against
84,000.
regressive taxes that advantage billionaires and millionaires over working families and the working poor. People in his state pay more taxes in the low end than we tax people on the
How
high end.
does
That's a
paying
fact.
$7 a
Value
gallon
proposition.
gas help working people? That doesn't help working people at all. How does paying an 8% sales tax help working people? That doesn't help working people at all. They have the highest
Nope.
taxes in the nation. People flee to be able to save money to get out of California. And you have working class people that move to these other states. Their dollars go much further. But here's the thing. They want to take this Bidenomics and they want to double down on this for the next 4 years. How many people are able to afford groceries now compared to what you were doing 3 or 4 years ago? I talked to people, I talked to a woman who had a cart full of groceries going in, and they're ringing it up. And it got to be so expensive, she has to take a lot of the stuff out. That didn't used to be the case. People used to be
Nope.
able to work hard and get ahead. That is not true under Joe.
Yep, not true under Joe Biden, I think is what he was trying to say there at the end. Just unbelievable, man. Just unfreaking real. Here's the other one I wanted to do.
San Francisco. There's a lot of plots on that. You may be asking, what is that plotting? Well, this is an app where they plot the human feces that are found on the streets of San Francisco. And you see how almost the whole thing is covered, because that is what has happened in one of the previous greatest cities this country's ever had. Human feces is now a fact of life, except when a communist dictator comes to town. Then they cleaned up the streets. They lined the streets with Chinese flags. They didn't put American flags there. They cleaned everything up. So they're willing to do it for a communist dictator, but they're not willing to do it for their own people.
Yep, and in fact, that did happen. There was not one single American flag when Xi Jinping's stupid butt decided to show up in San Francisco. There were tons and tons of Chinese flags. In fact, there was a huge one that were there. So, yeah. So there was that debate. I want to do a little bit on... Oops, sorry about that. Let's get this other one. Just a couple clips from the one last night. So clearly, California's in the crapper, literally. That's why millions of people are leaving your state there, Gavin Newscum. So, yeah. The reason I'm saying Newscum, if you're wondering why the crap you keep saying that happened to be trending after that debate last week. So, that is why I am saying Newscum. So, here are a few different clips here. Let's see. A couple. Let's do this one.
So foreign policy experience is not the same as foreign policy wisdom. I want everybody at home to know that I was the first person to say we need a reasonable peace deal in Ukraine. Now a lot of the neocons are quietly coming along to that position, with the exceptions of Nikki Haley and Joe Biden, who still support this, what I believe is pointless war in Ukraine. And I think those with foreign policy experience, one thing that Joe Biden and Nikki Haley have in common is that neither of them could even state for you 3 provinces in eastern Ukraine that they want to send our troops to actually fight for. Look at that. This is what I want people to understand. These people have, she has no idea what the hell the names of those provinces are, but she wants to send our sons and daughters and our troops and our military equipment to go fight it. So reject this myth that they've been selling you, that somebody had a cup of coffee stint at the UN and then makes $8 million after, has real foreign policy experience. It takes an outsider to see this through. Look at the blank expression. She doesn't know the names of the provinces that she wants to actually fight for. So foreign policy...
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, there's calls and screams for ceasefire with Israel. Why aren't there calls and screams and people in Congress demanding there's a ceasefire and a resolution to the stupid Ukraine thing going on? Because Biden, he wants to send more money. He wants to make sure that there is more money sent to Ukraine by Christmas. So I think maybe this is... Yes, this is it. Hold on.
Pass supplemental funding for Ukraine before they break for the holiday resources. As simple as that. Frankly, I think it's stunning that we've gotten to this point in the first place.
It's stunning.
Well, Republicans in Congress are willing to give Putin the greatest gift he could hope for and abandon our global leadership, not just Ukraine, but beyond that. Russian forces are committing war crimes. It's as simple as that. It's stunning. Who is prepared to walk away from holding Putin accountable for this behavior? Who among us is really prepared to do that?
Who?
If Putin takes Ukraine,
Who, Joe?
he won't stop there.
Oh.
It's important to see the long run here.
What is
He's
that?
going to keep going.
Is he?
He's made that pretty clear. If Putin attacks a NATO ally.
Where's he going to go next?
And then he attacks a NATO ally. When we've committed as a NATO member that we defend every inch of NATO territory.
Why are we in NATO?
That we don't seek and that we don't have today.
What's
American troops fighting Russian troops. American troops fighting Russian troops if he moves into other parts of NATO.
Why would he do that?
Make no mistake. Today's vote's going to be long remembered. And history's going to judge harshly those who turn their back on freedom. We can't let Putin win. Extreme Republicans are playing chicken with our national security, holding Ukraine's funding hostage to our extreme partisan border policies. Let me be clear.
Please.
We need real solutions. I support real solutions at the border. I put forward a comprehensive plan the first day I came into office.
Yeah, open it up.
I made it clear.
Everybody come in.
Congress to make changes to fix what is a broken immigration system. Because we all know it's broken. And I'm willing to do significantly more. Republicans think they get everything they want.
Leave office then,
without
please.
any bipartisan compromise. That's not the answer. That's not the answer. And now they're willing to literally kneecap Ukraine on the battlefield and damage our national security in the process. Look, I know we...
Okay, hold on. I gotta stop with this stupid face. All right, so Republicans are willing to kneecap Ukraine and give it all to Putin. And the one thing, a reason I stopped it, is because what the crap does this have to do? What does the war in Ukraine have to do with our national security? Clear the crap over here. What the heck does that have to do with us? It doesn't have anything to do with us. What it has to do is the fact that he's a corrupt piece of garbage and is getting, Ukraine is just a big, huge money laundering scheme. We've given them hundreds, plural, of billions of dollars. And over, I don't even, what is this, 2 years now that this has been going on? And there's no talks of having it stopped or a ceasefire or anything like that. We're just going to keep going until forever? No. We're done with the wars. We're done. I don't want to go be in war anymore. We don't need to pay for any of this. This isn't our war in the first place. Yeah, I can help them out a little bit, but not to the tune for forever. Look at our cities here. Look at our country. We're paying more now than we ever have. Under this guy. Speaking of Christmas time, the Christmas movie Home Alone. So he paid for all the stuff that he gets. He pays like what $20, around $20 for what he gets. Let's just see what that bill would be like in today's world. Let's real quick. So I'm okay. I won't give all the bad credit to Joe Biden, but in 1990, Kevin McAllister in Chicago supermarket gets a half a gallon of milk Rapid Plastic Wrap, Stouffer's Frozen Turkey Dinner, Snuggle Dryer Sheets, Wonder Bread, a 4-pack of quilted Northern toilet paper, Kraft macaroni and cheese, a baggie of plastic army figures, Tide liquid laundry detergent, and a half-gallon of Tropicana orange juice. The total cost of the items comes to just $19.83. Oh, then he gets $1 off a coupon, that's right, for the juice. And he pays the whole thing with a $20 bill. So in today's market, right, I mean, you pay like $20 just for the dumb toilet paper. So there was a TikToker that took it upon himself to calculate the cost of the same or comparable groceries at Target, claiming that Kevin would be spending $64 on similar items today. $64. In 2023, 30 years ago, would be $20 worth of crap. But today, we're paying $64 for the same stuff. So, yeah, and it's just, and he has made it, President Pooped His Pants has made it that much worse. There's more, and if you want more, I can post more of the debate, but I want to get to some of these other things here. Hang on just a minute. All right, so there's another thing I wanted to get to here, and then I want to get into the Biden money crap. So, the FBI, right, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, you would think is there to protect American people, right? Is there to protect Americans from the bad guys, right? And who do you think those bad guys are? Well, according to the FBI today, it's not exactly who you would think they are. There's a nice exchange in one of the committees, Senate committee. What is the name of this senator? But the FBI director, Chris Wray, refuses to answer questions, or just doesn't answer anything. Let's just have you listen.
Latest theory: how many other parishes have FBI agents approached priests and choir directors to ask about parishioners?
Look, Senator, we do not and will not conduct investigations based on anybody's exercise of their constitutionally.
You have done so, and your memo explicitly asks for it. Your memo labels traditional Catholics as racially and ethnically motivated violent extremists in need of investigation. You have a list of churches, a list in the memo. You've repeatedly said we don't target churches, we don't list churches. They're listed in the memo. So how many other parishes have you gone to talk to choir directors, for heaven's sake?
As I've
know the answer to that question.
No, I don't know the answer to that question, but I can tell you that we don't investigate people for their exercise of their constitutionally protected religious expression. That particular intelligence product is something that as soon as I saw it, I was aghast. I had it withdrawn.
He was aghast. Oh, no.
Did you fire the people who wrote it?
No, I had it.
No.
Have you fired anybody involved in it?
Nope.
Senator, if you would give me a chance to
That's a yes or
no.
There you go.
Have you fired anyone involved in the writing of that outrageous memo, about which, frankly, you've repeatedly misled the public? Yes or no?
The individuals involved
Have
in that
you
product
fired anyone?
Just a minute. Were not found to have engaged in any intentional or bad faith conduct. And in fact, Senator, a number of the individuals involved in writing that product in the Richmond office were themselves Catholics. So the notion
I see.
that they were targeting their own faith
so they
is
have a get out of jail free card. I see. So you're immune and they're immune. So we shouldn't ask questions about it. You haven't done a darn thing. You haven't fired anybody. In fact, what the House found is you admonished them. They were admonished. And their respective supervisors were told to engage with the Human Resources Division to ensure that deficiencies are addressed. I feel much better. They've been sent to bed without food. Good heavens, Director. This is one of the most outrageous targetings. You have weaponized your division, the most powerful law enforcement division in the world, against traditionalist Catholics, whatever the heck that means. And you just told us you have not fired a single person. Here, it gets worse. Your Richmond field office, they thought there was nothing wrong with this. The House interviewed the head of the Richmond field office. He testified. It's all here in the public report. I refer you to it, pages 12, 13, 14. He testified he saw no problem with this. He said he thought it was fine. In fact, we have internal memoranda of the members of the field office high-fiving. One peer reviewer, another member of the field office wrote, I think this is a great product. I really enjoyed the read. Do you have a problem with systemic bigotry against Catholics in the FBI?
No.
What are you going to do about this? Are you going to fire these people or not?
Those individuals have all been admonished, and it is all going into their, if you would let me finish my answer, it is all going into their annual performance reviews, which has direct impact on their compensation.
I see. So the 60 million American Catholics who now learn that your FBI has recommended that priests be recruiters, informants. Your FBI has gone to priests, choir directors, but we're to feel better because you've admonished them for their wrongdoing.
You, again, are conflating two different
Why
things.
not? I am taking your testimony where you said you do not. You said categorically, you said we do not go to priests and ask them about their parishioners. You said we do not. You didn't say we haven't. You didn't say we won't. You said we don't. It turns out you do, and you kept it from the public. You deliberately misled Congress about it, and the only reason we know about it is because a whistleblower came forward.
I just fundamentally disagree with your characterization.
Well, there's no characterization. The facts are the facts, and I fundamentally resent the fact that you have violated, if not the spirit, it's certainly the spirit of the First Amendment, and used your law enforcement agency against Catholics in this nation. Is this your latest?
So that's who the FBI is worried about. That's who they are worried about. Not the people who have come across the border. Not the people on the terror watch list. They just kind of like, hey, yeah, I see you there, bye. Not them. They are going after, along with the U.S. Marshals, like I talked about last week and I think the week before, the U.S. Marshals are going after those that were involved in, or just happened to fly into the Washington, D.C. area in December of 2020 and January of 2021. So that's who the government and the law enforcement agencies of the government are going after, to make sure that the evil Catholics and those that flew into D.C. In January of 2021, that's who they're going after. That's who's most important and who they absolutely have to make sure they're getting tracked up. Instead of the bad guy. So, yeah. I wanted to get to that for sure. Absolutely wanted to get to that. Now, to get into the Biden family money, the lovely thing that's why he was so mad about the fact that there's no money going into Ukraine anymore, because he's not getting a big fat paycheck from them anymore, because the money is stopped. Now, so the House Oversite Committee, if I can pull this up here, of course, it's not ready yet. There we go. So, Hunter Biden's business entity of Owasco PC made direct monthly payments to Joe Biden, and Representative James Comer explains what they're doing, and I hope to heck they get this done soon.
Media allies claim that Joe Biden claimed there was an absolute wall between his official government duties and his family's influence peddling schemes. This was a lie. President Joe Biden claimed his family didn't receive money from China. This was a lie. President Joe Biden claimed he never spoke to his son, Hunter Biden, about the Biden's family's shady business dealings. This was a lie. Now, Hunter Biden's legal team and the White House's media allies claim Hunter's corporate entities never made payments directly to Joe Biden. We can officially add this latest talking point to the list of lies. Today, the House Oversite Committee is releasing
subpoenaed bank records that show Hunter Biden's business entity, Owasco PC, made direct monthly payments to Joe Biden. This wasn't a payment from Hunter Biden's personal account, but an account for his corporation that received payments from China and other shady corners of the world. At this moment, Hunter Biden is under an investigation by the Department of Justice for using Owasco PC for tax evasion and other serious crimes. And based on whistleblower testimony, we know the Justice Department made a concerted effort to prevent investigators from asking questions about Joe Biden. I wonder why. The more we learn, it appears the Justice Department was trying to cover up for the Bidens until brave IRS whistleblowers came and a federal judge rejected the sweetheart plea deal. Payments from Hunter's business entity to Joe Biden are now part of a pattern revealing Joe Biden knew about, participated in, and benefited from his family's influence peddling schemes. When Joe Biden was vice president, he spoke by phone, attended dinners, and had coffee with his son's foreign business associates. He allowed his son to catch a ride on Air Force Two at least a dozen times to sell the Biden brand around the world. Hunter Biden requested office keys to be made for his office mate, Joe Biden, in space he planned to share with a Chinese energy company. We've revealed how Joe Biden received checks from his family that were funded by the Biden's influence peddling schemes with China, no less. The House Oversite Committee continues to investigate Joe Biden's involvement in his family's domestic and international business schemes at a rapid pace. We will continue to uncover the facts and provide transparency about the findings of our investigation. President Biden and his family must be held accountable for this blatant corruption. The American people expect no less. President Joe Biden claimed there was...
So then let's get going. Let's get this stupid impeachment done. I mean, holy crap, this is ridiculous. So this is what President Pooped His Pants had when confronted about this by reporters. He had this to say. This lovely guy.
Ukraine and also China. There is polling by the Associated Press that shows that almost 70% of Americans, including 40% of Democrats, believe that you acted either illegally or unethically in regards to your family's business interests. Can you explain to the Americans, amid this impeachment inquiry?
By the way, this video, which I'll post on my socials at Facebook, X, TikTok, True Social, and YouTube, Cade and Eric Show, he is just standing there as this guy's asking the question with his mouth open, just like, oh, I don't know what's going on.
Why you interacted with so many of your son and brother's foreign business associates?
I'm not going to comment on that. I did not. And it's just a bunch of lies.
You didn't interact with any of their business associates?
I did not. There's lies.
Mr. President, do you think there is any Democrat who could defeat Donald Trump other than you?
Oh my gosh.
You do believe that there are?
I'm not the only one to defeat him, but I will defeat him.
Who else do you think could defeat Donald Trump as president?
Oh, there he goes. So at the end of that, he's walking away, and the lady asked him that, and then he just slams the door. Can't answer the question, says a bunch of lies, but the House Oversite Committee clearly proved that it's not, and there is checks and all kinds of evidence to prove otherwise, that he is in fact corrupt, and he is in fact involved in his Hunter, in his son's Hunter's business dealings, and the fact that they did it all together. So hope to heck that something will come about, because I think we're all sick and tired of the nonsense. So hopefully you've enjoyed the show today. Again, Merry Christmas. It is December. Hopefully your Christmas decorations is going well. Hopefully everybody is safe and happy and healthy. And more to come next week. I mean, there's just so much stuff to get through. There's just so much stuff to talk about. I mean, this is just, this 50 minutes so far is just not even an inkling of all the crap that's going on. But hopefully you've enjoyed the show. Really do. Thank you to everybody who listens. Thanks to everybody who follows and continues to support the show through your listening and everything. So great job. Really appreciate it. So please like, subscribe, follow, share with everybody that you know, and rate on any of the podcasts platforms there, and then more people will be able to see this and have this available. So thank you very much. Hopefully you have a great week, and we'll talk with you next week. Bye-bye.